So you see, God is caught in a catch-22 because as the singularity is the Godhead, God's only desire is to share its love with all of its beings. In fact, the reason that there are these fragmented parts of consciousness around the singularity is because without these fragments of consciousness, God would never be able to share itself with anybody else. Because you see, one of the implications of total oneness is that when you realize infinity and God is totally one, it feels like this, like, oh my God, I am God, I am love, I am the most amazing, beautiful, miraculous thing in existence. I am singular. I am the only thing here. Oh my God, this is so amazing. I completely understand myself. I'm completely unlimited. I'm completely in God mode. Nothing can stop me. I can do whatever I want. That's how it feels like. But then God realizes a problem because God is so amazing, but who do I tell? Who do I share my amazement with? There's no one to share it with because I'm singular, I'm complete, I'm total, I'm one. There's no other being to share my love with. And because I am love, I am so selfless that I can't contain the love to myself because it would be selfish of me just to be complete, all whole by myself, one, without anything else. So it's precisely because I'm so selfless that then what has to happen is that I have to create all the other selves out there, all the other beings, all the other fragments of consciousness. I literally break my wholeness. I give up my own love and my completeness such that I could create incomplete parts of myself, such that later I recognize, because I'm infinitely conscious, that all those parts will come back together and merge back into me and realize what I am. And through that process, I will be able to share my love with myself. You see, I can only share and realize the full potential of my love by forgetting that I am love and that I am God. And in this way, I trap myself into a limited form somewhere far on the periphery. And then I begin my slow process back towards infinite consciousness and infinite love through the desire which has been implanted in every living being. And for that matter, all inanimate matter as well. The motion of all inanimate matter, from stars to galaxies to planets to molecules, all of it is a desire for an ultimate reunification. And so this now unifies us with the notion of what gravity is. What is gravity? Gravity is what happens when you take a bunch of molecules, throw them into an empty room. They all start to move towards each other. Why are they moving towards each other? Because they're separate, and now consciousness needs to reconstitute itself into a singularity. So what I'm talking about here is not just the psychology of humans or animals. We're literally unifying the motion of every single molecule and every being in the entire cosmos. See? We're explaining why molecules move. We're explaining why water moves downhill. We're explaining why nebula clouds form. We're explaining why stars form. We're explaining why planets orbit stars. We're explaining why there are black holes. We're explaining why light curves due to gravitation, as Einstein's predicted. We're explaining why there are galaxies that spiral around and collapse into each other. We're explaining supernovas. We're explaining all human activity, criminal and saintly, and all animal behavior, including sex and the desire for food, all of it. We're explaining all of it. So appreciate the size of this thing, of this explanation. So the desire that has been implanted in all matter, in all objects, in all living beings, is gradually pulling it towards greater and greater unification, until ultimately everything unifies into one seamless singularity. But it's not so simple as just objects are automatically drawn towards each other. Of course, for every force, there must be an opposite and equal force. So even though objects are attracted to each other, they're also repelled from each other. You see? So even though you desire sex with that beautiful woman, maybe, or you desire to marry that perfect husband, yes, you're attracted, but at the same time, you're also repelled. There's aspects of that person that you don't like. She gets older, you stop liking her, you lose attraction for her, you see? So there's attraction and repulsion at the same time. The reason that there's this repulsion is because of fear. Fear is absolutely fundamental. Fear is the opposite of love or the lack of love. So the reason you're repelled by certain things is because you notice, and maybe you've noticed this in your relationships, when you get, at first the way a relationship starts is that you're all lonely sitting at home. And it sucks, right? It's like, oh man, I'm all alone. I need some friends. I need a woman. I need a man, whatever. So you go out there and you make some friends. You find a woman, you find a man. Maybe you sleep with them. And now you're getting closer and closer and closer, right? As you're dating, you're getting closer and closer. Then you sleep with them. And then as you're having sex, you get even closer and closer. It becomes very intimate to the point where literally you merge into the other person. And then for a lot of people who are not comfortable with intimacy, it gets too close. Maybe you felt this. You get too close to a person. Now you want your space. So you've had your intimate sex, and then now you want to go and you want to take some time apart. Because you don't want to be with this person, attached at the hip 24/7. You need space apart. So you start taking space apart. Now, see, there's a repulsion. Why is that? Because you're afraid that if you merge too deeply into the other person, you'll lose yourself. You'll lose your sense of identity, of individuality. And that's precisely what keeps you away from the center, is your fear of losing your individuality from God. So every living organism is playing this game. We're trying to get close and to unite together with something, with money, with sex, with drugs, with men, with women, with whatever, with business. But also not too close, because if we get too close, we get annihilated. And we're afraid of annihilation. And so your specific degree of fear versus love, selfishness versus selflessness, is what determines your position along this entire radial model. And so does your consciousness. So as you become more and more conscious, what happens is you realize that, wait a minute, why am I artificially limiting myself? Why do I have these petty desires that are so limited? Like, why do I love that person just because she has a beautiful face? Why don't I love the person with the old ugly face? Why can't I love both equally? Why do I love that man but not this man? Why do I love money but not the lack of money? Why do I love a big house but not a small house? Why? What is the point? Aren't I being selfish when I'm doing this? What if I can release all that, and as I become more conscious, I release that, I become even more conscious, more selfless, and as I become more selfless, as I stop discriminating and judging all these things, I feel how good it feels. I get a little taste of selflessness. I get a little taste of that God state. The God state is just total selflessness. But I'm not ready yet to become completely selfless and completely God, because I'm still terrified. I still want to have a nice house. I still want to have a nice car. I still want to have enough money to go to a restaurant. I still want to have some sex. I don't want to give up all my sex. I don't want to give up all my money. I don't want to give up all my, living arrangements and all that stuff. I don't want to give up my physical appearance. I don't want to give up my age. I don't want to give up my health. I don't want to experience pain in my body. I don't want to give up my comfort. And so because of that, I'm stuck right here. But that's selfishness, you see. And the more I cling to selfishness, I fall into this counterintuitive trap where I think that by being selfish, I'm going to get all my needs met, I'm going to become happy. But actually what I realize is that I will never be happy, no matter how much money I get or sex I get or drugs I get or whatever I get. Success, fame, it doesn't matter. I'll never be happy. And the reason I won't ever be happy, you might think, well, damn it, God is such an asshole. Why would God not allow me to just earn $1 million and then just to be happy for the rest of my life? Why wouldn't God allow me to marry one man and just to be happy with that one man? Why do I have to be so restless? Why do I have to get jealous of other men and try to have sex with other men and all this sort of stuff? Why? you think that God is actually being evil by doing this. But actually, no, it's because of God's love. You see, if God allowed you to be totally fulfilled by a finite achievement, such as some sex, some drugs, some money, some success, some fame, whatever, that would actually make God evil, because then God would consign you to always be stuck in that finite mode. So the reason that there's hedonic adaptation, they call this hedonic adaptation psychology, where no matter how much stuff you acquire, you're never satisfied. This is actually for your highest good, because what this means is that this will push you to face your fears and to move towards the only true happiness that exists, which is the satisfaction of being utterly complete as God.